Hey everybody, this is Rustin with Metalholic magazine. Today we're talking with our brother Peter from Vader. How are you doing, man?
Hello. I'm doing fine, thank you.
How is everything in the world of Vader right now?
In Empire, I mean, it's so good. It's
Yeah.
all good in Empire. And we're after this extraordinary tour in the Far East, in Russia, in Siberia, in China, and now I got the time to relax a little bit. But as you see, the relax to me means talking about the album and about Vader, which is a pleasure.
Yeah,
Actually.
talking about the new album, The Empire, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. But as you just mentioned, playing in Russia, you did some video clips from France and from Siberia and whatnot, talking about the new record, some of the
Uh,
song tracks.
Video clips.
Yeah.
It's just like some memos, just about because usually this is how I did before for the previous album. This track by track, I did just sitting in my house, like talking about the same from the same place. So I found like more interesting if I can do something from the road, just even if the quality is like not as good. But this is more interesting if people can see that I'm in a different part of the world and I'm still talking about something. I can still give some impressions, even a short thing about the place I am in when I talk about like the next song from the new album. It's just something different.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought it was fantastic, and you played, as we were just talking about my friend Vitek down in India. You played at Open Air this year in Bangalore. Is there some
Well,
place that you guys haven't played yet that you really would like to go play?
it's probably many of such places, So we never played in Africa, but probably this is the last continent when metal is so much popular. But I know from some friends of mine that South Africa, there's like fans pretty dedicated to metal for years. So that'd be nice to go there as well. And the place made us happy because like there's the metal freaks like everywhere, and like it's always like good to bring some emotions, with our music.
And you teased us earlier this summer with the Iron Times EP, which features two songs from the upcoming The Empire, which comes out November 4th. To my ears, the new songs sound like a culmination of the Vader sound over the years, over the last 3 decades. But it's still classic Vader, yet very modern, very organic feel to this album, very powerful. Tell us about the record
Pretty
from
much.
your perspective.
It's pretty much, and it's maybe because I was listening a lot of old stuff, old music, like the music which was inspiring me when I was teenage, a young metalhead, like even before I started to play in a band. And I still a big fan of bands like Judas Priest, Saxon, Motorhead, Slayer, of course, and more. And so I was this time like I'm pretty much open minded, but actually I found out that 90% of the music I listen to is still same what I was listening like years ago. So from one side the classical stuff, from the other side I was also just bring back from my attic, old tapes, of blasphemy, immolation, I like I got when I was tape trading in '80s yet in '80s, with bands like many of those bands became huge, after years. But it's so probably that's why like it might be the feeling that it maybe is that the Empire, the new Vader album, is kind of combination, the balance between classic and furious music, if I can say so.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and the Vader lineup has been stable
Yes.
for like the last half decade now. How did that impact making the Empire, having this whole lineup stuck together this long?
Playing and working, cooperating is definitely better because we created a team. The 5 years is the most stable lineup in the history, of band. So it means something. And so we're like so different in age, and it's even more interesting because it means that this is not important. How old are you? James is so young, so it's sometimes hard to believe that when he was born. So we were recording second album, second demo tape or something like that. We were already on stage, but after he joined the band, he gave so much energy to Vader, with his drumming, with his passion, to play. It's like same with Spider, same with Holic, So maybe the process of creation, in the studio, something like it's not different than it was before. But this team working together, it's definitely give the brand a passion, also on the music, create, in the studio. Right. So it's the same. I still work with James maybe a little bit longer than I did before we entered the studio, but still the main part of work is when we spend time been recording.
On the early albums, you were the man. You were doing all the writing and everything. You're no longer responsible for writing the entire records by yourself. With this new lineup and the guys have been with you a while, has that freed you up a bit creatively, knowing that there isn't as much pressure on you to do everything?
It's not about the pressure. It's the creation. It's pretty natural. And if I did the bigger part of work, or if I do the bigger part of work, it's just because I'm a dictator in a band or something like that. It's just become because it's just like that. I'm bringing some ideas like the other like this way. But I have Spider. It's also like he also got some ideas. He brought 2 songs this time, to the studio. Brilliant songs, by the way. And James, actually all his drumming. So in my opinion, this is the strongest point of the album, the drumming. Because this is this young boy is absolutely amazing, and he gained a masterclass like years ago, and now he's just like I love to play him, to see him playing, and his passion. It's to have a good furious drummer. It's absolutely priority for a band like Vader, and so. Probably besides me, so he gave so much like with his drumming, which like all this work, all this arrangements of a drum, for the new songs. That's his work. So the band is a band. So even if I am a leader, so I still have like 3 more people, and we all together are teams. The band's always a band. It's not one man.
I just remember back in the early days, it seemed like you were just this one working force. The spark plug behind the band, and now it seems like it's, even though you're still the leader, it's spread out a little bit more. You don't have to carry the entire weight of Vader. Like you said, Spider coming in with some great tunes. You've got this spark plug in James behind the kit, and I think this album sounds like probably, given the vast catalog that Vader has of wonderful metal, this may be your overall strongest album to date.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Never ask me about what I think and about the album, because for me this is next album, and it's going to be next. So we always, record the album with a full passion, maybe this time all around me I had better fuel, maybe that's for the engine, but it's all in all. It's all about fans. Fans will decide about like they like or hate this album, and I'm happy to hear the words from you, from other fans already that they really enjoy the album. That's great, because after we gave some riffs or some things to the album we did not or never used before, so I was just curious, how is that going to be taken by fans who really know Vader, or who always waiting for another blast beat song of us or something like that. So there are still blast beats, but more. It's definitely the most different album, the more varied album, in the whole discography of Vader, definitely.
Yeah, a lot of diversity on this album. That leads me to my next question, because we talked about the music quite a bit, but tell us a little bit about the theme behind the Empire, because I know you had Joe Patagno do the cover art again, which is fantastic, and that really feeds the feeling of the record.
It's the cover is generally it's just the picture of the Empire, I'm meaning. I call the Empire because of some imperial tendencies lately in the world. It's like after we finally demolished all the walls between the nations, in the past, and I get a feeling that there are nations, there's some people, politicians, of course, who try to build the walls again, back. So this is not bringing any hope, because the Cold War already started again. And I don't know why, because, it's not me who hate, for example, Russians. We just were there on tour, and I met people who were like everybody else. I never felt any hate, in the eyes or something like that. And I would say opposite. They rather like ask us why there's so hate like in the West, compared, to the past, whatever. And all this this tension in the air, this actually made me thinking about it. Made me thinking about that, and all my emotions I put in the songs, and all these stories you can hear, you can listen on the Empire. And first there was probably a different title. I don't even remember how was the working title, but finally I found the Empire after the last Star Wars episode came out lately. And I even used the symbolic. Actually, I mixed the Emperor with Mr. Death and Uncle Sam, on the cover. This Mr. Death pointing on you is a straight taken from the poster calling to the army. From this typical Uncle Sam, calling to the army, and I just like asked for that, and of course the throne, which is like Game of Thrones, but I exchanged swords into like modern weapon. Like that was lately probably the most popular serial like in the last probably decade, and I always, even if I love this serial, but I still asking myself and like everybody else, like why so cruel, brutal picture is so popular today. Does that mean that people is asking for this in real? Because it looks like that, if you see the realities around it. So all these symbolic things I put like in the music and called this the Empire because exactly because of imperial tendencies I see around,
Right. I always wonder, because we've got this, obviously we're getting ready to elect our new U.S. president, and our presidential candidates are a joke over here in the United States. America has never been more embarrassing in my lifetime. But from your perspective, over there on the other side of the pond, watching this joke of what used to be a superpower with what they're trying to do over here, what are your thoughts from the other side?
I just heard Robert De Niro speaking about that, like today. It's like all about that. Actually, seriously, we have totally the same story in Poland. The same totally story. We got politicians who are elected probably as a joke, but it's not joke anymore when it comes to some serious decisions. And we have problems with connection with our neighbors, with our friends in the east and in the west. Just because we have some old pricks, trying to bring back the Poland from 30s or 20s. They want to probably call the cavalry as a strong point of the army. It sounds like a joke, but it's actually not. This is very dangerous when you see fools ruling your nation. Because they can just take you to hell straight. And because all the wars in the past usually were started by fools. But wrong decisions, wrong people. And we're in probably very similar situation already now, and hope is not going to happen. But and all these questions, but why? All this anger inside me makes me creating the music like on the last album. So furious.
Coming up, we're almost at the end of the year, which means 2017 marks the 25th anniversary of Vader's debut album, The Ultimate Incantation. Can you take us back real quickly and tell us what you remember most about making that first record?
The Ultimate Incantation, actually, that was the crowning of 10 years of existence of the band, behind the Iron Curtain. So actually all these songs you can listen to on the Ultimate Incantation, they were created in almost decade, before, and so that was totally different. And of course, that was the dream came true for the band from Poland, who signed a deal with Eric, so huge record company, like with so many legendary bands, So actually, the Eric, whatever happened later, they gave us a chance, to show up to the world and to show that the Poland is not just like some old shit, like, and we still know about modern music, just even if nobody supported us. But we just had to work twice or three, four times stronger, more than anybody in the West, for what we had. And of course, when we are for first time in US in '93, I remember that was a great tour with D-Side and Suffocation. We spent almost 2 months in the continent. That was very first time, and probably that was the most significant, the most important for us and for promotion of Vader in the United States and Canada, of course. That was a very big deal for us to show, to break the wall and to show to everybody around, and to also to meet all those who, through tape trading, get our demo tapes years before, and they never believed the band from Poland can visit the United States, for example. Right. So for us, it was like dream came true, but some other people probably too. Just maybe not the dream, but there's something interesting to meet the guys they never supposed to meet,
Yeah, actually, if I remember correctly, Live in Decay, that first demo was 30 years ago this year. So,
by the way, you just mentioned 2017. We're gonna visit the Maryland Death Fest, and just because of 25th anniversary, we're gonna remind the Ultimate Incantation, probably as a whole, on this special show. And this is going to be just beginning, because this festival was pretty much opportunity to start a tour after years in US, and it's just working on that, and that's going to be probably 20, 30 shows in May and June, and this is actually what I can't wait for, because that's a while since we've been there.
You guys have re-recorded a couple of tracks off that first album, and I've read interviews where you said you weren't really happy with some of the way the first record was recorded. Is there any thought in your mind of maybe re-recording the entire album with a new band for the 25th anniversary?
You know what? First, we wanted to release the Ultimate Incantation, the first studio trial from Stockholm, when we recording the Ultimate Incantation first, but we did not like sound because it was crappy, and so then we re-recorded the album in England in '92, and this is the album So we wanted to make something special and make this double record edition, limited, and we are fighting with Eric just to we want to buy the license just for them, and didn't let us do that, even if we offered really good money for that. And so the problem is they don't want to do anything like that, and so we wanted to bring back the first album, first of all, for fans,
Right.
And because this is really hard to get today, and especially in original versions. There was no re-edition. Somebody in the United States made a re-edition on vinyl, but it fucked up totally. There's one song which is cut between the end. So we wanted to make it professional in vain. So all this, cooperation with Eric failed absolutely. I don't understand that, but we can't do shit about that now. And I was thinking about record this album again, just because there's no other choice. There's no other chance to give this album for the new generation. But if we will have time and we will decide to do this, it's gonna be more like live act. So we're gonna record this in a studio, most live recordings, just with some vocal and things added. So no anything really worked. It's gonna be more natural sound, and after so many years, these songs are we play them just like that. So it's gonna be, I think, something more interesting, especially if we never did it before, recording in the studio live, the whole album. Right. So who knows? Maybe we will do that next year.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for taking some time. Look forward to seeing you next year when you come to the States.
You're always welcome. Okay. See you. Bye-bye.